Hi everyone, I'm Millie, one of the co-founders of MILCO Design. And this is a little recording from last week's webinar, How to Make Your Website Fresh and Trendy. It's mainly for small to medium-sized businesses, and we'll be sharing a bunch of little tips from content strategy to image selection to questions at the end, such as Wix or Squarespace. So stay tuned, grab yourself a little notepad, a little pen, because it'll be a bit interactive and there'll be some questions throughout it. So here we go, enjoy. I'll start off by sharing the screen and bring up the presentation, which, by the way, I just made it on Canva. One of the tips, just use all the excellent resources that are out there. Here we go. So how to make your website fresh and trendy, which was done on the 13th of May. Okay, fact. The average human has an attention span of 8 seconds. People will judge your business on your brand based on how your website looks and functions. This is according to a Microsoft study back in 2013, but it is so important that your website is looking fresh and slick as soon as someone basically, opens the door to your shop front. Your website is your shop front. Good design encourages a viewer to want to learn more. So don't forget about the design. You can have sleek, beautiful websites with just very simple designs, but it must look good. Okay, so before you kind of get into things, you need to know what your goal of your website is. Is it to build your brand? Is it to gain new customers? Is it to share information with clients? Or is it to showcase services or products? So perhaps you're an artist and you just wanted to use it as a portfolio to showcase all your beautiful art. And it could be everything. In fact, for us, it's a bit of everything. But it's important to know that everything you do on your website, you think about your audience and what your ultimate goal is, because that will define what content you share. So who do you want to speak to? Write it down. Who is your audience? What type of age group are they in? What gender are they? Are they busy corporate business people who need answers right away? Or is it someone who wants to improve their personal or professional life? Just write it down. Who do you want to speak to? This is crucial that you get this right first, so then you can create the content and make your website trendy and fresh to speak to your audience. Good vibes. How do you want people to feel? Do you want them to feel inspired, motivated, calm and reassured? Do you want them to feel optimistic for the future? Your website has to feel right. It has to feel exactly how you would hope your ultimate customers or clients would like to feel when they come across your website. For example, if you're a life coach, then chances are some of your clients, potential clients, might be having some issues with their personal life and just needing to come to your place and feel calm, feel relaxed, and know that, hey, there are some beautiful answers here. Or, you could be a Tony Robbins and you want people to feel super motivated, crazy, and move quickly and just want to click that call to action and book your meeting. So just keep all of that in mind. How do you want your customers to feel? Okay, I'm going to move into content. Creating fresh website content. Here's a little tip. Show people why you need them. At the end of the day, you're hopefully solving their problems. So what questions do you think people are asking? You want to give them the answers that they're looking for. All right, number 1, content. Make it clear what you do. Keep it short and to the point. Basically, how would you describe what you do to a 10-year-old or to your mother or grandmother? It should be no more than 10 words to describe what you do. And they need to know it as quickly as possible. The moment they open your website, they need to, bam, see the heading on the top of your homepage, exactly what you do. Here on the left, we have PH Tax, and they are the experts in the art of tax and business. So they target artists and designers to help with their tax services. You know straight away. So what do you do? No more than 10 words. Keep that in mind. Fun little fact, having a strong heading in your banner will also help SEO. So Google will love to pick up the keywords in your heading. So make it clear from the start. You don't want someone to be scrolling halfway down the page like, oh, wait, what is this? What do they do? People don't have time with that. The average person these days spends 43 seconds on a website. So you need to capture them ASAP. Okay, so this is Bridgetta. She is a life coach in LA. I don't know her personally, but what she has done with her banner images is that she's created it all together. So she's literally, I don't know if she used Canva, but she put the words over the image and then created that image, put it up on her website. Google can't read the words that are in these images. So please avoid this. Another thing that she has done is that as having the scroll, which also slows down your website, but every single one of these images has about 20 different fonts and styles. So do keep your style consistent. More on that later. Okay, number 2, keep content minimal. Don't overshare. People want to hear parts of your story, but not all of it. You want to give them enough information that wants the viewer to reach out and ask for more. If you've got humor, add it, add your personality. You want to intrigue them and make them curious. Because at the end of the day, everyone knows that the best part of who you are is that interaction, that human-to-human interaction, whether it be email, phone call, a Zoom meeting, obviously face-to-face is the best. But you just want to give just a little bit of content and show enough of your product or your business that people are like, okay, yeah, you've got me. So this is the Google phone website. Absolutely love it. The Google phone, buy. How simple is that? If you check it out, you will see how beautiful the space around it, that it breathes, how gorgeous the subtle animations are. It tells a story. It has a flow. It's just, I really, really, really like this website, and it's something that you should all try and go back to. If you think you're blabbing on too much or you're oversharing, just go back to something like the Google phone website and you'll realize that actually, do you know what? I don't need to share everything. If you do want to share your full story about, how you came to start your business, then pop it on your blog or, elaborate a little bit on the about section, but just be careful you don't overshare. Or one day you might want to write a book. Okay, the power of 3. I really, really, really like this tip, especially if you're a business and you have so many different types of services. Can you pop it into 3? So for example, for MILCO Design, we offer all sorts of different graphic design services, but we realized that actually our top 3, photos, website, branding. The human brain reacts really well to the power of 3. It's like when you're giving a presentation or a speech, you want your message to be popped into the 3 different strong headings that will hopefully get the message across as quickly as possible. And pop this on your homepage. If you have only one product, what are 3 reasons why someone would want to buy your product? This is a good one. Power of 3. Okay, I'll go next. Okay, this is a trend that you are no doubt seeing everywhere. They are freebies. So you want to give people a taste, right? Because we all want to try before we buy, because obviously it's a great way to gain new potential customers. However, if you're giving away a freebie, such as an ebook, the content must be obviously unique and the design must be high quality. You can't design it on a Word document and expect someone to pop in their email address and look at this very ugly Word document. Make it fun. Canva, again, is a great tool to be able to create your PDFs or ebooks. If you need some help, of course, we're here to help. If you have something that Canva can't do, then shout out. So what do you want to give away? Write it down in your little notebook. Is it an ebook? Is it a free one-on-one session? Is it an audio? One of our clients, your inner calm coach, Suzanne, she gives away free audios, free little meditation sessions, and they're absolutely beautiful. Or is it discounts? Could be a bit of everything. Have a look. See, what are you attracted to? Maybe, if you're on a website, if you're shopping and maybe the first order, the postage is free. Just keep an eye out, what is attracted to you. Okay. Finally, having a strong call to action is crucial on your website. Because at the end of the day, what do you want people to do? So go back to your ultimate goal and make sure that you have the right call to action in place. You need to make sure that you have clear buttons scattered around your site, leading them to your destination. Think about your website flow as well. It's not very, it doesn't feel very good when you hop into a website and you have buy now, buy now, buy now, contact us, contact us, contact us. That's just adds anxiety. So think about the flow, think about where you want to place the buttons, make sure you have 2 styles, 3 styles, absolute max. And they must be beautifully presented. There could be links, there could be pure buttons. Make sure the style is obviously consistent throughout your website. Okay, moving on to design trends. Number 1, stick to the basics. By the way, I did a visual communications degree at UniSA and 3 years of studying all sorts of different design. So this is going to be interesting to try and put it in a few minutes, but hopefully these tips will help. If you stay within the guidelines, the design guidelines of your brand, of your template that you're working on, then you can't go wrong. Well, you can, but you got to be disciplined. Keep in mind that the designers have designed these templates for a reason. And look, it's so tempting to take advantage of all the flashy animations, especially if you're building on Wix or Squarespace. There's all sorts of different shadows and lines and borders that you can add to your elements, but just be careful you're not looking like something from the year 2000. It's very easy just to get carried away. Stick to the basics. For example, keep your navigation menus clean. Don't put shadows on them. Don't put embosses. Don't try and make them look like, real 3D buttons. That's definitely not a trend anymore. Stick to 2 fonts and 3 sizes. Stay within your brand guidelines. And if you don't have brand guidelines, I highly recommend you get some organized. We can help you define them as well if you want. Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's an awful website. This is actually chosen by Remco, the other co-founder of MILCO. And this is just absolutely disgusting. But great. So you've got all sorts of different fonts here. You've got, I just have to move on. Anyway, you get the point. I can't look at it anymore. This one has come up again on, if you search for bad examples of websites, this one comes up quite a lot. The reason being is that this, believe it or not, all these little squares are actually menu items, and they all animate and they go around his head, and it is incredibly confusing. Each little square has a different style and font. The menu is actually up at the top. It's got these hideous metallic gradients. It's just very, very confusing. I've absolutely no idea what they do. I think it's a school of some sort. But yeah, you would think, okay, maybe it looks presentable. I really like the white space. I like having people clear on the banner. But yeah, anyway, we move on. Okay. I've said it before, I'll say it again, just take advantage of good looking templates. Wix and Squarespace have so many out there. Just stick to them and try and not add and load too much content onto your page. Design trend number 2, allow your website to breathe. And remember that space is actually beautiful. This is one of the most important design rules you need to know. Minimalism is a classic design trend that will always beat them. Space creates calm energy. So do not be afraid to have just a few words and move on to the next. And you scroll down, there's a few more words. There's a gorgeous image with no text over the top. Just if you go back to the Google phone website, the iPhone actually as well, believe it or not, they both have beautiful websites. There's so much space around it. You do not need to cram as much text and paragraphs into the space as possible. It just does not look good. One thing that we're seeing more and more are white frames around pages. This can give it some structure and stability. It's becoming pretty popular. It's great for maybe if you want to kind of, again, if you want someone to feel, okay, yeah, this person has everything together. You might want to use this trend if you want to attract corporates because they've got a busy life, and this looks like it's got everything in order. Okay, next. You break up text with small, simple, beautiful imagery. So I just said that before, but again, repeating, because if I can repeat some tips and messages, then the better it gets sunk into your head. So think about when you're scrolling down your website, it's okay to have a beautiful image breaking up the text and the flow. And even better if you had add a bit of a parallax effect. So as you scroll, you start to reveal more of the image. That is also beautiful. Parallax effect does slow the website down, however, but it does look pretty. Okay, number 3, use sleek photos and get creative. Obviously, your own professional photo is the best. So if you can afford it, use professional photography. If you can't afford your own photos, then make sure you carefully select some stock images that are in line with your brand and color scheme. There are millions at the moment of free images out there, and it's a process that takes a lot of time. It cannot be rushed because, as we all know, a picture tells 1,000 words, and it's absolutely imperative that you choose an image that, again, makes your audience feel right, that it connects with your values, that it connects with what you're selling, what you're promoting. Some examples of free stock photos: Pexels, Unsplash have some beautiful imagery. But if you pop onto allthefreestock.com, you'll see all sorts of different libraries there. But yeah, and have fun with it. Get creative. I love these gorgeous spices on the side here. Yeah, invest in a good profile shot. If there's something that, okay, maybe you can't invest in a full day's photo shoot, but if there's something that you must need, that is a profile shot. Because then you can pop it on your About Us page, the snazzy little profile photo. It looks professional, and someone can obviously see who the person is behind the company. And then, of course, you can use that photo to update your LinkedIn profile, because having a good LinkedIn profile is just as important as having a good website. More on that later. But do update your professional profile shot. Important to know, pixelated and blurry photos are just unacceptable. You just cannot. It is like going into a shop and you're seeing all the clothes are sitting on the ground. There's just broken vases. It's just, and you can't do it. Absolutely no. Even if you love the photo and there's like, oh, but I really love the butterfly and I really like the color of this purple. Just no, you can't. Absolutely not. Just shout out to us if you're needing some image help. Okay, a trend that we're seeing at the moment is mixing images with graphics. It adds some creative zest. So on the left here, so I'm actually the marketing manager for SA Care, and this is a sneak peek into the new imagery that's coming out. This is Ben, one of SA Care clients, and he is just full of life. He's such a cool dude. So we wanted to, Josh Gleam was a photographer who created a series of gorgeous photos. And then we teamed up with Alexandra Bellis, who created this like illustrations around it. So we'll pop this on our websites and throughout our social media and stuff. So it just adds a different dimension and certainly adds a more personality. But just be sure you stick to a consistent style and careful you don't overdo it. If you're going to do something like this, team up with some professionals, unless you're an artist yourself, obviously. So yeah, there we go. Let's move on. Another trend when it comes to colors, luminous color schemes. Be bright and bold. So I think color tones that will give your site that neon feel. It's a trend that works extremely well with extreme minimalism. Otherwise, it can be a little uneasy on the eye. So if you're wanting to use this, you must master the space, you must master the minimalism, you must master gorgeous imagery selection, but it can be a pretty cool thing if you get it right. Okay, next. Here are some, okay, we're coming to an end here. So to put it simply, some do's and don'ts. Do make your website suit your brand. Do use professional photos. Do use the right tone of voice. So be friendly or be corporate, depending on who you're talking to. More on tone of voice later. Do update your content regularly. You know, pop onto your website once a month. Once a week is even more amazing, but once a month is a good time just to kind of stand back, look at your website, see what needs to be updated, because your business is obviously, you know, evolving as well. Like how can you, you know, have your values change slightly, have your services change slightly, just check into it once a month and update it. Of course, blogs, if you're, you know, adding blog posts, events, just, yeah, all right. Include clear navigation and call to action. Change your website every 2 to 3 years. That's pretty normal right now if you want to make sure your website's fresh and trendy. Stick to template and guidelines. Make sure it's mobile friendly. If your website isn't mobile friendly in 2020, then you need some help because most people are accessing websites on their mobile. And of course, do use a professional if it's driving you mad. Like you shouldn't have to be trying to spend days and days and weeks trying to get even just a Squarespace website up. If it's driving you mad, trust me, get a professional. They'll do that for you as quickly and hopefully affordably, so then you can focus on your actual business itself. So, which brings me to don't spend so much time on your website that you're forgetting about your actual business. Don't use too many fonts and button styles. Again, remember your guidelines. Don't put text and images for banners on the homepage. So you can put text over images if you know that you can read the text, but again, that's just a bit of a repeat from what I said earlier. Don't center align large paragraphs of text. I see this quite a lot. People are wanting to just center everything, and it's a massive design no-no. The human brain doesn't actually take in, unless they're small paragraphs, fine, that's absolutely fine, but you can't, yeah, it just, the human brain doesn't work so well when it's having to jump in this zigzaggy film. Anyway, don't use outdated stock imagery. I think I've made that clear from before. And don't pay too much for your website, especially if you're a small business. You don't need to hire a crazy expensive web developer to build your website. That you should be spending no more than $2,000, $5,000 absolute max on your website, depending on what you need, of course, but most of the time what I see, yeah. All right, questions. Email info@milco.design if you have any questions, or pop it in the chat below. We will start off with which website builder, which comes up a lot. Here are 4 big ones that you probably already know. Squarespace creates beautiful, sleek templates, great for if you're in the hospitality industry, if you're artists, designers, they love the minimalistic, clean look and feel. Wix is fantastic if you're wanting it to become a little bit more animated and interactive. A person like the light boxes are better here. The SEO is much easier to functionally do it properly on Wix than it is on Squarespace. But Wix, if you have a lot of heavy images, Wix takes a long time to download the images. So keep that in mind. Shopify is great for, obviously, for e-commerce if you're selling things online, and WordPress if you're wanting to absolutely take your website to another level with more unique designs that perhaps Squarespace and Wix can't do, then I'm sure go for WordPress. But it all depends on what you want. And a hot little tip, if it is you who's going to be updating the website on a regular basis, once a month, you want to use something that's easy to use. It needs to motivate and get you excited to add a blog post, add an event, make it easy to change the text, change the images. It has to be user-friendly. So choose depending on what you want. If you want higher level functionalities, for example, if you're a shop and you're wanting to people to customize, for example, it could be building supplies. Obviously your Squarespaces and Wixes can't do that for you. You'll need to seek a proper web developer, and you might be looking minimum, $20,000 for something like that, minimum. So, but if you're just a small business, you just want to use your website as a like a virtual business card, stick to the basics. Personally, we like to use Wix, mainly for the SEO. Squarespace, but Wix just frustrates me so much how it does take a while for the images to upload, so it looks a bit blurry at the start. Feel free to make any other suggestions below. I'd love to hear it, because I'm in a bit of a love triangle right now. I know there's some other options out there, like Showit. I need to have a play with that. Webflow is beautiful, but that also relies heavily on WordPress as well, and a little bit more difficult for a small business owner to edit. So share suggestions below. Here are some questions that came out from the webinar. One of them was, what is the suggested amount of pages on a website, and what are the most important ones to include? Stick to 5 to 6 pages max. Obviously you want your home page, services, about, contact, and then if you have a blog that you use regularly, include a blog. If you have events that you update regularly, use events. But most people, well done if you've got lots of events and blogs, then keep that there. But I think for most people, stick to about 5. Can you easily edit in WordPress? I struggle to, as a designer. I really don't like editing in WordPress. Some people might love it, but I find it difficult. Which programs do you normally use? Mainly MILCO. We usually use Wix or Squarespace, but we're open. We're always trying new things. What's the best format for images so that it doesn't take up too much space? JPEGs. And most Squarespace, Wix will automatically compress the images, but you can learn to compress the images on Photoshop. So there's 72 DPI resolution, and you can export and save to web, and that will help as well. Okay, so we're coming to an end. So if you need some website feedback, just head to our calendly.com milcodesign/15 minutes, and we'll just sit with you for 15 minutes, go through your website, and share some tips and tricks on how you can quickly make little adjustments that will make a huge difference. So yeah, thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. These are some little offers that we'd love to offer you during this time until June. Our free 15-minute chats are always available. If you're in Adelaide, 1-hour photo shoots for $100, they're usually $200. So Remco will update your profile shot, or if you need photos of, your product or business or whatever it is, do get in touch if you're in Adelaide. if you're needing a big makeover, we'll do the full package: logo, 5-page website, and a 1-person profile shot for $18.50. This is in Australian dollars, by the way. 10% off all of our other services until end of June. Check out our website, milco.design, or email info@milco.design. So that is so you can see me, and so I can officially say goodbye. There we go. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Hope you got a couple of good little tips. Next week, we're hosting a webinar on how to make your brand look good in the digital age. So that will be a fun one. We'll also do another recording. But in the meantime, reach out. Hope that was helpful, and see you around. Bye.